YouTube, what's good? So in today's video, I'm gonna be going over what happened in my 14-day juice cleanse. There was a lot of ups and downs, I'm not gonna lie. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. And to be honest, I'm proud of myself for completing it, It's a lot of reasons why I did it, and I will get into it later in the video. But if you came across this video today and you're thinking about starting that juice cleanse, this is your sign, okay? Because I'm a big component believer in giving your body a rest, giving your body a break, going on that solid food vacation and going inward, and in today's world, especially with all the things that's going on in the food industry and food and mental health, I'm a big advocate for that, So I'm gonna get a little vulnerable in this video. I'm gonna open up some and be honest and transparent and allow you guys to get to know me on a deeper level. And I think that this is important because it just goes to show that everybody is human. We all go through different things and different seasons. And I think that it's not about what you go through. It's about how you choose to show up for yourself in that process. And I'm just so grateful that God put on my mind to do a juice cleanse, to reset. I'm feeling a lot better. I'm feeling like myself. And it's all credit to the juice cleanse, right? So let's get into the video. First and foremost, why did I start the 14-day juice cleanse? I am a big component for fasting. I've actually been fasting for a few years now. I'll say maybe about 3 years ago, I got into fasting and just understanding the benefits of giving your body a break, getting away from the processed foods and tapping more into fruits and vegetables and things of that nature, right? So this is my first 14-day cleanse. I've never went 14 days on just juices alone. The real reason why I wanted to do this cleanse is because it was time. I felt like I was dealing with a lot of emotions. I kind of had some personal things going on, as well as I had just moved to a new place, as you can see, which I'm very grateful for. But at the time, it was kind of hard to accept that I was going to be leaving my old place. I had like a attachment to where I used to live. And the reason why I had that attachment is because, I felt like that was my first place that I felt safe in a very long time. I kind of went through some things a few years ago, had to restart my life all over, moved to a new city, and started from the bottom out here, And my last apartment was probably like my biggest accomplishment in a long time. And that's the first place that I felt regulated and safe. And I felt like God had healed me in that space, So to know that I was moving away from that and knowing that even though I'm moving on to something better, it was really hard for me, And I felt like I dealt with a lot of like resistance with this move and packing up my stuff. It was a lot of turbulence going on with that, right? So just dealing with emotions and stress and, in that time I started to go back to my old self, which was consumption, eating to numb, eating to feel better, right? And honestly, I was not eating the best stuff, I was just kind of like just going at it. And for me, there's certain things I don't like to eat because I know that there's no limit, right? Like I'm not the kind of person that can just have like 2 pieces of candy. It's all or nothing for me, right? And that's just me being honest. So I started to catch myself just kind of slipping back into my old ways. And when I started to eat like the bad foods and the sugars and just kind of overdo it, I was not feeling like my best. I had a lot of brain fog, lots and lots of inflammation in my body. My skin kind of broke out a little bit. And I just didn't feel good. I didn't feel like myself, and I got in this cycle of just like consuming and not feeling good. And it's like, okay, I'm not feeling good. So the clear thing would be to stop consuming. But, food is like an addiction, And at the time I was just so busy. I didn't have time to really process my emotions and deal with what I was feeling, And at that time I was just going through a lot, honestly, and just kind of going back to what made me feel safe, even though it was not serving me. I knew that God was calling me to do a juice cleanse, to fast, to push away the food and to really just go inward, and it was hard at first, was not something that was easy for me to start. I've done these type of fasts before, but for some reason, this one was the hardest to start, And if you're on this video right now and you're doing your juice cleanse or any type of fast or cleanse, when it's hard to start, that's when you really have to fight for it, because that's nothing but the enemy trying to distract you from the breakthrough that God wants you to have. Anything that is worth having is not going to be easy. And sometimes when it's the hardest, when it feels like you have a lot of resistance, you have to push in, And it took a lot of prayer, a lot of meditation to just trust myself enough to keep starting. Because on this cleanse, I kept like restarting, right? So I finally locked in. I finally got started. I got started on, it was June 1st, actually, on a Monday. And I was like, you know what? I have to lock in. I can't go another day feeling like this, you know? And sometimes it takes you feeling so bad, feeling so disconnected that you finally lock in. And that's what happened with me. You know, I know what fasting is. I know what to expect. I know how I'm gonna feel in the end. So I had to really convince my mind, like, you're gonna feel so much better. You're gonna feel lighter. You're gonna feel more like yourself, right? So once I finally got started, the first few days were great. You know, I started, my weight was actually about 149. I would say like high 148, 149. I did weigh in. I can't say that I didn't do this cleanse a little bit for the physical aspects of it, as well as the mental aspects of it as well. But physically, 149 is pretty heavy for me. I'm typically around like 144, 145. But with me overeating and just eating the bad foods, not really moving my body, you know, I felt heavy, you know, and I know that fasting and eating the fruits and the vegetables is a great way to release the waste and to reset your body. So I already knew that I was going to drop some weight. And drop some waist physically and mentally. But starting at 149 was very humbling. I'm like, man, I feel 149. Like I felt every inch of it, you know. And I've noticed like when I'm in the lower 140s, I just feel better, you know. That's like my God weight. I feel better. I think clearer. So when I weighed myself, I was just like, you know what? It's time to lock in. Like stop playing with yourself. Like 149 is crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? So for me, like everybody has a different weight, but I just don't feel good at 149. I just feel heavy. I feel bloated. I feel inflamed and things of that nature. So anyways, I finally got started with the cleanse. And again, the first few days, like I would say from day 1 to day 3.5, I felt amazing, man. I felt great. You know, it was way harder to get started, but once I started, it was like, okay, let's do this. We're doing this, you know. And I felt the benefits almost immediately. I'm not gonna lie, like I felt good immediately. You know, I started off really doing like watermelon juice. You know, I did start on a day that I had to go to work. Don't recommend doing that. You know, I work in a very stressful environment. People around me are eating and consuming all day because the environment is so stressful, you know. So for me, I'm experienced when it comes down to fasting. I understand the what I'm gonna go through. I kind of already primed my brain to know what to expect, you know, to know how to respond when I see somebody eating my favorite snack. You know what I mean? To know how to respond when people are constantly offering me things, you know. And when I do my cleanses and my fast, like a lot of my coworkers, they know what I'm doing because I've done this before, you know. So I do have those people that support me and like, yeah, go for it. And other people are like, why are you doing this to your body? You need to eat. You know what I'm saying? And I just realized you can't please everybody, you know. But because I have done fast and I fast a lot, I already knew what to expect. If you're new to fasting, I would not recommend starting on a day that you go to work. You should just start on the day that you have time for yourself because it can be very challenging going into an environment that's already against you, right? You have your favorite foods, you have people who don't understand what you're doing. And if it's your first day, sometimes it can feel hard to overcome that resistance, right? But overall, the first few days felt great. You know, I did have like people at my job, but I was just so happy to get started. You know, it took me a while to just start. You know, it took me days to just start and do exactly what I said I was gonna do. Like, you know, so once I got through the first day, I'm like, okay, we're locked in. We're locked in. Seeded watermelon juice was the easiest thing for me to juice the first few days because it didn't take a lot of time. Again, I do work, so having to go to work, it was just easy to juice watermelon, you know, and I do like my juices pressed every single day, so I did juice every day on this cleanse. And watermelon is the easiest and the cheapest way to get the bang for your buck, right? Like, I think watermelon in where I live at is about $8, and that could last me 2 days, right? Watermelon juice all the way, felt good, but things started to change on day 4. Like the night of day 3 going into the morning of day 4, things started to take a turn. I feel like around day 4, that's when the old self started to resurface, you know. A lot of times when you start these cleanses, you can start on a high, you know, you can be just off the dopamine, you know, being proud of yourself for doing what you said you was going to do. And I felt good. I finally started, but around day 4 is when things started to shift for me. I started feeling the old self try to resurface, you know, old cravings started to come up. I knew the little voice that I was hearing was not my voice. That's nothing but parasites trying to get you to do something that you really don't want to do. And this time it took a lot of mindfulness. You know, I had to do a lot of prayer, meditation. You know, I'm very big on being mindful and tapping into the higher self, the higher energy to help me persevere. Because sometimes when you have those cravings that come up, it's really not you. It's just what you're used to doing, you know. And I had to confront that uncomfortable feeling, you know. When you fast, when you get away from food, when you detach, you're left with your true emotions. You know, you can't really numb out. So I had to feel the uncomfortability of wanting to do what I was doing and not choosing that, not choosing that reality, right? So the cravings were intense. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I start feeling like brain fog. And just really wasn't feeling like my best self. And I had to just surrender to that. You know, I had to understand that like you're not gonna always feel good on these cleanses, and it doesn't mean that anything is wrong. It just means that you're detoxing, right? It's like an addict. You're withdrawing from whatever you're addicted to. And at that time, I felt like, you know, me just eating like the sugar. Sugar is like my thing. So like candy, like chocolate specifically is like my thing. So, you know, withdrawing from that and then just being conscious enough to say, you know what? I don't want to choose that reality. That's not what I want. I want to put the good things into my body. Making that mental connection is what helped me persevere, right? But another thing that I noticed is that on the days 1 through 3, I was consuming basically fruit juices. And to be honest, like if you're only consuming fruit juices, they can be very harsh on the body at first because they are pulling, they're detoxifying your body. And I hadn't done a cleanse like this in a long time. Didn't start my cleanse off the best way, especially because the day before I probably was eating something crazy. Not gonna lie. So I realized that like I need to balance this out. You know, instead of me just doing all fruit juices right now, it's time to add some greens. It's time to balance things out, and that's exactly what I started to do. YouTube, what's good? So today is day 4. I'm just checking in with y'all real quick. We're still doing our juice cleanse. I'm not gonna lie, the last like maybe like 24 hours were a little rough, but I am starting to feel better. I think my body was just kind of like detoxing, and like I was only really drinking like the fruit juices. So this juice right here, it has celery in it. This is my first juice that has like vegetables in it. And as you know, when you do these cleanses, if you stick to fruit juices only, you will detox hard. Like, I mean, these last like few days, I was detoxing hard, but I was in good spirits up until about 12 hours ago. That's when everything kind of changed. But I am feeling better. Right now I'm feeling good. I weighed in today. I was almost 6 pounds lighter, which is so crazy. And today is only like day 4. So yeah, man, we're on the journey still. This is my 3rd juice of the day. I'm feeling pretty good now. Like, you know, I feel like now that I have my greens in it, things are going to get better from here. That's exactly what I started to do because I realized like I was just really fighting my old self. Like I was really confronted with the old identity. That was one thing, but also because of the type of juices I was having, it was time to switch it up, right? And that's when like between days 7 and 11, that's when I really got into my flow state. You know, I started to have more greens in my juices. And I mean, there was a big jump from there. Like once I started to really drink the green juices, and I instantly felt better around day 5, but I felt amazing at day 7. I'm like, oh yeah, we're locked in. Like we're going to finish this fast. Like I felt so good around day 7 that I was considering just going 21 days. Like I might as well just keep going. And I felt a strong pull at first to do that. Like I'm like, I feel great. You know, my mental health had improved a lot. I felt lighter. I felt happier. I felt like I released some emotions. I felt like I had more mental clarity. You know, a lot of times when you're consuming these types of foods and, you know, chemicals, it's hard to think clear, you know. And then, you know, when you walk outside, you're in this stressful frequency or environment. So it's hard to really feel good, feel clear, and feel sure about what you're feeling, you know. So when I detached from the food, when I went inward and started putting in the high vibrational foods, I started to naturally feel in high vibration. And then it's like as the days went on, I just started to trust myself more, you know. The green juices are very special, and I'm gonna link some of my favorite juice recipes down below if you guys want to try some things out. But I really just felt a sense of peace and happiness and connection with my body. I think around day 7 or 8, I'm already down about probably like 7 pounds at this point. So I feel good in my body. I start working out, and honestly, I didn't work out a lot because I felt like at the same time, like I was also getting rest because I hadn't been sleeping good before that. So my body was just catching up. And at times it was a little like hard to rest and stay still and feel productive. But I had to remind myself like, I'm fasting from not just food, but from the cycle, from the system, from the matrix of always feeling like you need to be doing something, you know. Sometimes it's okay to just exist and be. And that's something that I'm still learning how to do. But when I was fasting, I was forced to rest, you know, because sometimes I was tired or I would want to sleep a little bit longer, and I had to remind myself that that's okay. You know, at this time, you know, I have been carrying stress for months, so my body needed to rest. It needed to regulate. It needed to just recenter. Sometimes the most productive thing that you can do is rest. And then I'll say around like day 12, I actually started to feel a little like weak, but honestly, it's because I wasn't drinking enough. You know, at around this time, actually, like even a few days before this, like my appetite had decreased significantly. Like I wasn't experiencing no type of like cravings or anything like that. Like, of course I miss food, but it wasn't like, oh my God, like this person's eating in front of me, I have to have it, you know? And that's why I really felt like a strong pull to like want to go longer, because I'm like, this point, I don't even really miss food. Like I can go without food. Like, will food be nice to eat right now? Yes, but I don't need it. But around day 12, I did not consume enough juice, and I definitely paid the price for it.
Good. What's good, YouTube? So today is day 12 of the juice fast, 14-day juice fast. I'm currently on day 12. Overall, I feel good. You know, I feel like my mental health is feeling really, really good. I do feel a little fatigued though, I'm not gonna lie. And I feel like most of that's because I low-key have not been drinking enough over these past like 48 hours. I really haven't had much of an appetite, but today's a new day. I got my juice with me right now. I'm gonna try to drink like at least like a gallon today. You know, this is half a gallon. I got a little ways to go, but when you're on this fast, like your appetite suppresses a lot. Like you get to a point where you're not even as hungry anymore, you know? And it's important that you keep drinking, because if not, it's so easy to get fatigued. Like I've been fatigued, I ain't gonna lie. Like I'm not gonna lie, but overall I feel great. You know, my body feels reset. Mentally I feel clear, you know what I'm saying? I feel good. Like, you know, I don't have no bloating or anything like that. And that was the whole point of doing this fast, was to just get the inflammation out of the body. So today is day 12. Almost said day 14. Today's day 12. I feel good. Got my juice. This is nothing but this is just orange juice, organic navel juice, man, and it's fire. So we got 2 more days to go. I feel good. Like I honestly feel like good. Like I don't have any complaints other than feeling a little fatigued. But other than that, man, I'm good. Let's get it.
Just wasn't physically feeling like strong that day. I was kind of fatigued. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? And that was my fault. I felt like at that time, life had just got busy, and I just really wasn't thirsty or hungry. Like you know, at that point, my body started to adapt. But it made me realize, like, you know, even though I have experience and I know what I'm doing, I need to keep drinking juice at the end of the day. You know, around day 12, I'm probably like 10 pounds down, you know, and that's a lot of weight in a short amount of time, especially with me not even working out as much. So yeah. So literally around like day 13, I just drank a lot of juice that day. Actually, I kind of like really, I think maybe like a gallon of juice that day, and I instantly felt better. And I just felt good. Like I felt like this is the easiest it's been to end a cleanse. Like I felt like my appetite was in so much control. Like I felt way more disciplined, way more locked in, way more focused, and I felt like I just wasn't craving like food as much. I promise y'all. Like it was crazy how good I felt, and I was really considering just going 21 days. Like I made it 14 days. I might as well, right? My weight loss had became noticeable. You know, like I lost a lot of weight, like in my midsection. My face wasn't as inflamed anymore, but my midsection was the place that I noticed a lot of inflammation had went down. And overall, like I ended the fast very, very well.
YouTube, what's good? So today is day 14 of the juice cleanse. I am almost done. I'm almost out of here, man. I feel great today. I feel accomplished, you know. Wow, just wow. Like the fact that I struggled so much to get here and to get to the last day. I still got like a couple hours to go, so I'm gonna make sure I stay strong. But wow, like 14 days of just juicing, you know. I feel amazing. I feel like confident. Like, man, I did exactly what I said I was gonna do, you know. And wow, 14 days, y'all. So I feel good. Like, you see the smile. Like I feel good. I'm just excited for what's next, you know? So I keep y'all tuned. I tap in with y'all when I break my fast later on.
Like, I'm actually really proud of myself on how I handled days 12 to 14. Even when the adversity came in, even when I started feeling fatigue and stuff like that, like usually when I end a cleanse, I'm always like thinking about, okay, what am I about to eat? Like I can eat now. And to be honest, I was more focused on ending the cleanse and like in a good way. You know, I didn't want to go back to the chemical foods or anything like that. So to be honest, I broke my cleanse with some pineapples and some what are they pistachios. I had pineapples and pistachios. I broke my cleanse at 2 a.m. Had no business eating that early, but at the same time, I was so proud of myself. I was like, man, you deserve it. And it's crazy because like I was so proud of myself for doing 14 days. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a very, very long time. And even though I struggled in the beginning, just the feeling of accomplishment, you know, just the fact that I actually did exactly what I was gonna do. I had my ups and downs. I had my moments where the old self tried to come back in. But proving to myself that I can overcome myself, it's like the biggest flex, you know? And it just shows me like our minds are powerful. Like if you really put your mind to something, you can do anything in this world, right? And I proved that to myself, you know. And as humans, that we have to overcome is our addiction to food, you know. And I'm like, man, if I could say no to my favorite foods, if I can lock in and do a juice cleanse for 14 days, like you can do a lot of other things as well, you know. And ultimately, I just felt very proud of myself, you know. And if you on your cleanse right now, I promise you it's worth it. I promise you it is. You know, you just have to persevere and you have to challenge those thoughts because they are going to come up. When you want to go back to food, when you want to break your fast early, I promise you, if you just sit with that emotion and you let yourself process and feel that emotion is trying to numb something else. You know, a lot of times, man, we get triggered by our environments, we get triggered by old emotions, or maybe when you're fasting old things might come up and your first instinct is to run and go get some food, which is only going to numb you out. Sometimes you just have to sit with the uncomfortability. Sometimes you have to face yourself and feel what you've been trying not to feel, you know. You have to feel what you got to feel, you know. It's not going to be comfortable all the time, but the more that you sit with the uncomfortability, you'll be able to process through the emotions, you know. And for me, I had moments where I felt uncomfortable, when I felt weak, when I felt like, man, maybe I should just, you know, maybe I should just go eat. But I had to remember, why are you doing this cleanse? I'm doing this cleanse because I didn't feel good. You know what I'm saying? And as I cleanse and as I get away from the old self, I'm feeling like my best self. I'm feeling like my new self, right? So it's all about mind over matter. So overall, I started out at, I think I was like high 148. So let's just say 149. I was 149 pounds and I got down to 136 pounds, y'all. Like that's impressive. And I really did not work out that much on this cleanse, you know. That wasn't easy to do, but I had to realize like, hey, we're resetting, we're recovering from some stressful few weeks. Let me give my body a break. So to lose 13 pounds in a short amount of time is amazing, you know. And I felt like I could tell the difference. A lot of people around me seen the difference in my body. I noticed it in my face. You know, I felt just more like chiseled. And I like being in the 130s. You know, I haven't been in the 130s since high school. So to know that my body feels amazing at that weight, it felt good, you know. At this point right now, I'm recording this video. It's like 2 a.m. where I'm at. I'm currently, last time I checked, I was 140. I feel like as I refeed, I'll probably get back up to about 142, which is normal, guys. Like when you do these cleanses, you will gain weight back. But as long as you're not eating like super duper crazy, you shouldn't put all the weight back on. You know, I've done juice cleanses a lot, and I feel like every time I do a juice cleanse, I do refeed and probably put on like maybe 5 or 6 pounds, but I always lose over 10 pounds. So I pretty much feel like my body's gonna like settle at about 142. I probably got about 1 or 2 more pounds to put back on, but I still feel good. I still feel in high vibration. A lot of the inflammation is out of my body, y'all. That is like the biggest thing for me. Like I'm an ex-college athlete, so to, you know, feel better like with my joints and things of that nature, that's a big win for me. You know, a lot of this food be having these chemicals and stuff in it, and that's why you be feeling so stiff and so sore. Like I used to feel like why am I waking up sore? Why am I waking up stiff? And a lot of it is because of the food, or specifically the sugar for me. Like I ain't gonna lie, I love me some chocolate. Like y'all know that. So specifically, it was like the chocolate for me that would make me feel like sore and stiff and things of that nature. So when I got away from that for 14 days, I'm waking up, my body feels good. Like my body doesn't feel sore, painful. I'm not, like I had like a little bit of a hamstring injury. Wasn't feeling that tightness. So that just goes to show like all the benefits when you do fast. So overall, man, this was a successful juice cleanse. I'm super proud of myself. I feel like if you're on this video right now, this is encouragement to keep going, to stay in the fight, stay in the race. Don't quit on yourself. Once you get through that first week and you find your routine and your rhythm, I promise you it's downhill. Like, your mind is so powerful, okay? Like, to be honest, like, I think everybody needs to do like a prolonged fast. Like, people might look at me crazy for wanting to stop eating food for a certain amount of days, but I think it's kind of crazy that you go all year without giving yourself a break. So yeah, ultimately it was a great cleanse, y'all. Like, this is my first time documenting my cleanse. So hopefully you guys like the videos that I did insert in. And this won't be the last one. I'm definitely gonna do at least another prolonged cleanse. Probably two more before the end of the year. This is like my routine. It's like my religion. I believe in cleansing and fasting and just getting away from the chemicals, the addiction, right? So yeah, overall, I would say this is very successful. I'm very proud of myself. I still feel good. I have indulged a little bit since the cleanse, but the thing that I will say is that the fact that I know I can go a long period of time without food, I don't feel like I'm gonna just let myself get back to that point. You know what I'm saying? Especially with me knowing what I can do and then also feeling how I felt after the cleanse. Like, just feeling accomplished, feeling confident, feeling like I had like a quantum leap or something. Like, just feeling higher and knowing like, hey, and it's crazy because it's like as I get back into eating and stuff like that, it's like I feel like a higher version of myself still. Like, even when I have my chocolate, I'm like, man, it's good, but like this is not what I want to continue to do like down the line. So it's like when you do what you say you're going to do, like your mindset, your mindset changes, and that's like the number one pro that I took away from the cleanse. Outside of the physical changes, like the weight loss and just feeling better in my body, I feel better in my spirit. And I trust myself more. I trust that I'm going to do exactly what I say I'm going to do. So anyways, if you found value in this video, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. I post every single week motivation, personal development content. I talk a lot about fasting on this channel as well. And I'm going to be talking more about fasting and just getting away from the food and from the day-to-day life as well. So if you found value in today's video, just go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, tap in with me, ask me questions. I'm very interactive. I get back to everybody's comments. And yeah, man, I'm here for y'all. I'm excited that you guys got to see this journey and many more to come. That's all I got for y'all today. Peace and love. I'm out.